Hey y'all, happy Wednesday, again. So this is actually today's packing video, and it's July 1st, which means it's the first day of the third quarter, and I am pleasantly surprised by the amount of sales that we had overnight and this morning. Unfortunately, these two not so little items haven't sold yet, but I don't have them listed on eBay. We just have them on Facebook Marketplace. However, we had two angels and we did sell those, so we are well into the profit on that blow mold purchase from our last highway sale. But let's go ahead and get started with today's orders. We have 15 items going out, starting with this Tex the Marshall vintage milk glass mug. You know, these aren't necessarily the highest selling items, but I can't resist them when I find them for cheap. We picked this one up at a flea market type area of a highway sale last year for $1. We had accepted an offer of $9, but I enjoyed having it around. Those character mugs are really cool. Now we're going to have to climb up top to our Halloween bin, and we are getting very close to bringing this down to ground level because I think this is 3 days packing in a row that I've had to climb up there. And this is an animatronic witch, which you can see it does work. We don't store or ship these with batteries, and unfortunately the battery cover is missing, but sold as is. Paid 99 cents at a thrift store. It sold for $12.50, and it's a cool little piece. She makes noise too. Now, this is an item you have definitely seen me sell before. Really a great purchase. It's added up quite well. We paid $1 for a whole stack of these Virginia is for Lover bumper stickers at a highway sale. And so I have maybe 10 cents a piece, not even, into these, selling them for $4.95 each. And it's quick and easy to ship. So we love those replenishable multi-quantity listings that we can just throw in an envelope and send on their way. Now we are selling a lot of glassware today. We're up here grabbing a cup. This is going to be a vintage Libby Monarch butterfly and wheat juice glass. Very tall one. And I paid $0.25 for this at a yard sale. I remember because the 25-cent sticker on it was like baked on and it took me forever to get it off. It sold for $9.95. I think I'll remember that sticker being stuck on there for the rest of my life. It drives y'all crazy when the sun bakes on a sticker and you can tell it's been out at multiple yard sales and you can't peel them off. Oh, it's so frustrating. All right, now we have an item that we picked up, actually 3 items from a highway sale recently. These are all Rubbermaid kitchen utensils. So you have like a pasta strainer, a funnel, and an ice cream scoop. They do have some wear, but we made sure we showed those in the photos and commented on it in the listing. Paid $1 for them. They sold for $17.95. So I love picking up vintage Tupperware, but vintage Rubbermaid sells very well as well, especially those colors, the yellows, the oranges. And we have another glass going out. This one's seen a little bit of wear. This is a Hazel Atlas mid-century modern type style polka dot glass tumbler, and I couldn't resist it when I saw it at an estate sale for 50 cents. It only sold for $7.50, but it's a very cool piece. I sometimes think I'd like to have a cabinet full of drinking glasses that are like that. Not all the same, like all different mix of things. Now we have some little pottery pieces going out. I didn't want to sell these individually because shipping has increased so much, so we just lotted these two up. One's a little brown jug and the other one looks like a water vase or water pitcher, but very cool. You could use them as bud vases. No signatures or anything on the bottom. Paid 50 cents at an estate sale. They sold for $10.16. Now this next item, I'm patting myself on the back for. I was at a Goodwill about a week ago and I saw what looked to be an interesting vintage electronic piece. Interesting as in definitely looked old, looked like it was in good shape, but I didn't know what it was. And this is actually a video of when I found it. You can't hear it, but it is a sound machine and I only paid $4.99 for it. So it does like a waterfall rain type sound thing from the 70s. Very cool item. Check the comps and they were through the roof. So for $4.99, I definitely picked this up. It sold for $63.71 in less than a week. So we are not angry about that at all. And I learned something new to look out for. So that's pretty cool. I love learning new things to check out. Next item came from the same box that I found that swung vase in. And you may know from my previous video, I paid $1 for that swung vase. I also paid $1 for this brass little duck nightlight. I'm guessing you can use one of those clip-on lamps on top of it, a little tiny one. This is how it came, and it does work. Let's show you here. And I'm leaving the light bulb with it. I usually don't leave the light bulbs, but it came with it, and so I said, you know, might as well leave it. Very cool little piece, heavyweight, nice item. Paid $1. It sold for $32.48. So the last 2 sales alone completely made my day. I'd have been happy if they were the only 2 things that sold because we got some really good numbers on them. But the sales kept coming, and I am not complaining. Let's hope it stays on that trend. This is a Herald Square metal 4x6-inch index box case, but it is filled with vintage recipes. So I have about $1 into the box and maybe $0.25 into all the recipes I stuffed it with. So $1.25 sold for $25.25. Yes, I do make some of those. Sometimes I find recipe boxes full out-of-state sales and I'll sell them as I find them, but I will make them as well because I find a lot of recipes at estates and at the bins, all sorts of places, and I love seeing them go to good use. So somebody's gonna love and cherish that and cook all those yummy recipes. That's awesome. Next up, we have an Anna Lee doll going out. This is a Scarecrow mouse. Really cute, and he's got a little crow on his arm, so obviously he's not too scary. Paid $1, it sold for $15.95. Now we are looking for a little trinket item, and honestly, I can't say I've seen it recently, so I'm not quite sure where he's hiding. May have to pause and search around for him for a second here. Looking for a wooden totem pole. And there it is. I actually have a little tub up top that I keep small wooden pieces in, and finally dawned on me to check it. This is a handmade, and you can tell it's very primitive style, rustic totem pole. Paid $0.25 at a yard sale. It sold for $7. Neat little decorative piece. I like it. Now let's see if we can get our next item out of the kitchen cabinet without having to move my bowling stuff or climbing up on the step stool. It's just a little bit too tall for me to see into, and of course I need to push some of these things down in there so I can see stuff better. Alright, had to get the step stool. This is a vintage Vera Newman napkin or placemat. I'm not sure. It's kind of shaped like a placemat, but it could be either. I was bummed when I found this in an estate sale and there was only one, but I still picked it up because I thought it was cool. It cost me $0.25. It sold for $14.95, so a very cool piece. I just wish I'd had 4 or 6 of them. Sometimes you just gotta take what you can get. Now we have a Tervis tumbler going out, and it's probably way in the back. I think I've had it listed for quite some time. I picked it up at a yard sale last year for $1. Here it is. And this is Old Dominion University. This is actually the local college that I could have gone to, didn't, but right down the street. Paid $1. It sold for $10.16. And we had one last sale this morning before I started packing orders or pulling them for this video, and I was quite pleased with it. This was a bins find, and found in this bag, just as it's shown, it's 15 little miniature candle holders with little clip-ons. They're made by a German company called Mueller. You can see right there. They're little stars that hold little mini taper candles that I guess you're supposed to clip onto your Christmas tree. Doesn't sound very safe, but also sounds beautiful. Paid 50 cents. They sold for $29.71. So $14.58 into all of these items, and it was a $271.17 sales day. 18 times our money, and a great way to start Q3. Now I've got it all packed. I'm going to the post office, and we're going to see if we can keep this momentum going. See you soon with another video of what's sold.